Hey everyone and YouTube, this is a Q&A we're doing in the Path of Titan Discord that were recorded, so you can hear some developer questions.
All right, perfect. Do we have any news on the water questing or any more quests in general?
Yeah, that's in the works. It's almost done, so it's coming out soon.
Perfect.
It's all on the test ranch right now.
Well, I've seen some more, but are they coming to the demo like any relatively soon, or are we going
Yeah.
to see anything coming soon?
Yep.
Perfect. That's all I had to,
Oh, do you
to
have a second
ask.
one?
No, I can't think of any. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
All right,
Good.
thank you. Bye bye.
All right. Bye bye. Right. Next one is from Muetz. Muetz. All right.
Yeah, hello.
And
Hey, hello.
yeah, hello.
Hey, what's up? So I wanted to ask you if there will be any sort of tutorial, because
Yeah,
I
we do
started the
plan on a
game
tutorial.
yesterday.
Yeah, it's a little bit difficult to figure out the game right now, and if we finish the tutorials too early, we'd have to go back and change them all as the game updated. So it'd be like a lot of work maintaining it, but we do plan on a tutorial before we launch the game for sure. Because it's a little bit
Yeah,
confusing
okay.
how to play and combat things like that, and finding food, so I get stuff like that.
All right, that makes sense, because I couldn't find anything on the internet, not even on YouTube or somewhere else. But the game is still a lot of fun, so thank you guys for making
Thanks
it.
a lot. I really appreciate it.
All right,
Yeah,
that was
thank
all.
you. Brilliant. Okay, thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Axelope, hello. Are you typing or speaking for yours? Ah. Will we be getting new attacks like Pounce anytime soon? Are those in the works? On top of this, will we be getting any new balancing changes for certain dinosaurs like Metri? Cough cough.
Yeah, so Pounce we've already got it partially completed. It's just not ready yet, but it is along that Pounce along with 9 other abilities per dinosaur are in the works to come soon. We just have to refactor a lot of the user interface to support like being able to use that many abilities. Because once you have more than 2 attacks, you gotta have keybinds and stuff for it. But yeah, that's in the works soon. In terms of balancing dinosaurs, we're gonna wait, like I said, until those 9 abilities come in for all the dinosaurs before we rebalance them, because that's going to dramatically change our balance. Like, you might think that Metri is overpowered or something now, but when you get your 9 other abilities, you might not think that's the case anymore.
Was that brilliant? All right, thank you, Axa. Right, other Rook, you're up.
Hi, so this may be a really early question to ask, but do you have plans or anything you can tell us about how you're planning to do gliding and flying mechanics? Whether it's momentum based or a bit simpler than that?
Um, Unfortunately, I'd love to give you a great answer to this one, but it's a little bit early to discuss that, mainly because we haven't started working on it. So it's something we'll start working on later. It's very cool and it adds a lot to the game, but if we just work on flying now, it would kind of take away from like the combat mechanics and stuff like that. That flying is cool for like 10 minutes and then it gets boring, and then you're like, oh, what do I do now? So we kind of want to focus on combat and stuff like that first. And once we have
Completely.
some of the core gameplay fleshed out, we'll work on stuff like flying and gliding and things like that.
Right, awesome, thank you.
Spoken like a non-player main. No, flying is pretty cool. I just see games like World of Warcraft, and I see people flying around all the quest givers, and you don't actually play the game, stuff like that. And it can totally change up the gameplay experience. And if you don't have the right mechanics, then it can definitely get boring.
That being said, if we have awkward side strafing flying, Matt, I'm coming for you. Okay. Thank you, Avaruk. Hello, Murphy.
Hello. Okay. My question is just curious about console support and the game coming to consoles, because I know I have a lot of friends who aren't on PC that have a console and they want to play.
Yeah, we get this one a lot. Unfortunately, given the way consoles work,
Mhm.
most console game companies, they get under like a non-disclosure agreement. So even if they start working on a console version, they can't tell anyone yet, and they kind of have to coordinate with the console company to like be able to launch the game. So you'll find out that a lot of games on consoles just kind of come out of nowhere, and that's because the console companies don't let you be as open and transparent. So we can't really confirm anything unfortunately right now, but
Okay.
love it on console. You know what I mean? It'd be really cool, but it's not something we can confirm at the moment.
All right. Well, thank you for letting me be here.
No worries.
Thank you very much for your question.
Oh wait, I have a friend named Wolfie. He wants to get unbanned, but
You need to contact the support email for that one, I'm afraid.
okay. Okay. All right. See ya. Bye.
Hello, Karis? Is that it?
Yep. Nope.
Hello.
It's.
We can hear you. Okay.
Oh, you can?
Yep.
Okay. My question is, it's less game based and more extras based.
Sure.
Specifically about the art book.
Awesome.
I know it's not released yet and it won't be for a while, but I was just wondering if it would ever be like a physical thing as well as like a PDF or just an online
I
thing.
would really love for it to be a physical thing, but
No.
that'd be a difficult thing to promise just because it takes like months to figure out the logistics of that, and you've got to do like quality
Yeah,
control and all that stuff. And I worry that that
probably
would
more
kind of take away
expensive.
from the game a little bit right now.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah,
we could
obviously.
totally look at doing that in the future. I just don't know right now. Could do it.
Okay, and I it would probably be more expensive as well, right?
Yeah, we'd have to investigate. You know, like generally
Yeah.
you want like a thick cover on this thing. You want some like really
Yeah.
high quality paper and like very, you know, because it's got all the like this beautiful artwork in it. You kind of want to really. It's not just printing like
Okay.
a regular textbook. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
you know, you want
Okay. Okay, I wanted to ask that a while ago. I just kept forgetting, but thank you very much for
no
answering my
worries.
question. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for asking.
I'm here now to ask questions too.
Awesome.
What? Get in the queue. You're not welcome here. Get out of here. Hello, welcome.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, great. I was a bit curious about something that might be added to the game later because I've established that we're not added. So I was wondering, if each species will have its own little version of the mini map where food icons will appear on it for each species.
Yeah, Jakey, do you want
I
to
don't think we.
Yeah.
I don't think we have any plans to officially have icons of food on the mini map because that kind of defeats the purpose of having to explore and look around and discover them for yourself.
I suppose that's fair.
We do plan on making it like a little bit easier, right, than it is right now. But I totally get people have a hard time finding it. We will implement quests and things like that, like the find food quest to like make it a little bit easy if you're having trouble finding food. But adding just all the food to the minimap might make the game a little bit too easy.
That's fair.
Cool. Thank you for asking your question. Hello, White.
Can you hear me?
Mhm.
Hello?
Yeah,
Hi
I can
there.
hear you.
Hi. My question is, how exactly are things going with the bars Boldia so far?
In what context do you mean?
Like, well, of course I know it's not released yet, but like, how's the progress going on getting it towards release? Like, its calls, the animations, and overall how it works.
Well, certainly, like most unreleased dinosaurs, it doesn't have any of its, abilities and things like that really quite ready to go. One of the reasons why it's unreleased is because of that. But as you can see in the character creation screen, it's got skins and textures and the whole thing. So really, if you're looking for a timeline in which it might be released, I can't quite give any ETAs on that one, unfortunately. But we'll definitely release it as soon as we've got what we feel like it's in a good state to be released. So, yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Now, if there's one thing that I want to say about Barsboldia, and this is something I'm kind of aware of, is apparently there may be a study coming out soon that might reclassify Barsboldia to be I think it was Saurolophus or something, like a completely different dinosaur. So we'll have to
Oh,
tackle that one and see how that might go.
okay.
Anyways, just wanted to mention it. It's sort of like news around the grapevine kind of thing. So we'll see how that paper comes.
All right.
Anyways,
Thanks
thanks
for
for
answering
asking.
my question.
Yeah,
Have a good day, all of you.
thank you.
Alright. Hello, Brush.
Hello. My question was gonna be kind of more PvP based, but I know that world events have been kind of talked about, and then I know on the Kickstarter, uh, extras or like goals met, there was like capture the egg or death match or something, and I was wondering if you have any like insight, right? Like I know it's kind of early, but do you have any insight on like whether that's gonna be like a separate instance, kind of like Warsong Gulch in WoW or something, or is it going to be like a world event PvP type thing? If you were
We're
to bring those
definitely
in.
going to we're definitely going to try and incorporate a lot of these ideas into, like you said, world events and quests and stuff like that. Like you can easily imagine a capture the egg style kind of world quest that might happen when you're actually wandering around Pandora, and you could get marks and stuff as a reward for competing in it, I suppose. But that being said, certainly for I guess community servers will have an actual built-in game mode that they can just completely switch over and host. That will be like, hey, um, this entire server is just dedicated to doing deathmatch, and we don't do quests here. We don't do any of that other stuff. We don't even have to worry about food and water if you don't want. And it's just, and then of course they could host a death map like style map like on the server. That would let them, people wouldn't have to run around and try and find each other because they could all spawn inside of a little arena to do fighting as well. And of course, lots of other things too, like especially with modding, you'd be able to add in different dinosaurs to see which one stacks up against which, and like there's going to be a lot of freedom, at least specifically for the PvP, because we do know that a lot of people love seeing the dinosaurs try and pair up one to one, and see what the combat outlook might be. So it's definitely all being taken into consideration. But like I said, certainly as much content as we can get into the main kind of adventure mode is definitely part of that.
So the death match, like you could have like a separate server for the death match. Would you also be able to do that for like capture the egg or like other ones?
Yeah. There'll be
Okay.
different types of game modes, and also if there's a game mode that we don't necessarily like officially provide, it's totally possible to mod your own game modes. So if you wanted to do something like, I guess we are doing the King of the Hill style one, that like the territories. So there's that, but if you can think of other game mode types like well, I can't really quite think of any off the top of my head, but they could definitely be modded in. So there's a lot of freedom in this case.
Thank you. That's cool.
No worries.
Brilliant. Let's see.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hi. So I had a question about how the death is planned to be handled. Like, what sort of penalty are you going to incur, and how is recovering from that going to look?
Right. So this one's a little bit up in the air just because we need to sort of see how it feels when it's actually implemented in the balance and all of the ramifications of it. So I can't quite give you the exact specifics on this one because it might change. But it will definitely be things like you'll lose marks. I don't know how much, or I don't know if it's going to be all of them or half of them or how many, but you'll definitely lose marks. It's possible that you could lose unlocked abilities, so depending on the type of ability, of course. So you might have to re-unlock some attacks or certain types of abilities with the marks. And certainly you'll lose your place in the world, if that makes sense, because you'll respawn in a brand new area. And also, being part of a group and doing the multiplayer style quests right now, like group quests, I should say, you'll basically lose all of your quest progress, and anyone who was in your group like will have to continue on without you and won't be able to do the quest with you, kind of thing. So it's just a huge inconvenience dying, and it's going to end up I know a lot of people are very interested in having like death be meaningful in some way, if that makes sense, so that people aren't really inclined to run in and face tank or be kind of silly and not play terribly realistically. So we'll definitely make death uh, quite harsh, but like we mentioned before, with having, I guess, no permadeath, in that sense, and everyone has persistent characters, it kind of lets you continue to progress forward at all times, usually, unless you seem to die a lot in a row or something. Um, but it gives enough of a penalty for that, but it's not necessarily going to make you have to start from square one, because that can be quite demoralizing, honestly. So yeah.
Okay, I guess with that in mind, is there like planned to be like a limit of how much you can lose from dying? Like, let's say you're having a bad day, you log in, you're instantly just underneath someone's mouth and you get killed. You respawn, you get found like 2 seconds later, several times in a
Well,
row.
I definitely just to mention that one. Well, we have systems in place that will make it so that that shouldn't happen. Like you won't be able to unfairly kind of spawn right in someone and die. In the future we'll be putting in a lot of these kinds of checks. But going forward and sort of mentioning, hey, if you've died multiple times in a row, we'll be able to detect that. We'll be able to figure out like why are you dying? Are you dying because you continually run in and keep killing people and you're dying to like other players, or did you just fall off a cliff 20 times accidentally? Like what's going on here? And we can definitely adjust any penalties if we feel like we won't let you get so far behind like you almost like regress back into being a complete newbie, quote unquote, because you've lost so much stuff.
You don't
We'll
lose your
definitely
growth,
make sure.
right? So
Yeah,
that's
growth
something to
doesn't get
expect.
lost. Growth doesn't get lost, and certain abilities won't get lost either. Certain abilities.
Okay.
All right, cool. Thank you for your question. Hello, Blue. Are you
Hello,
speaking or typing? Yeah.
I'm speaking. I have two questions. Am I allowed to ask two?
Sure.
Do you ever plan on adding like where the waystones are on the map? Will you like show the percentage of the waystones on the mini map, or do you just have to walk up to the waystone to see what it looks
Yeah,
like?
about that, we thought about that. We really didn't want to make it too easy because, somebody could be trying to camp there or trying to set something up there. And if you could just see, hey, I'm a mile away, I could see, hey, it's at 50%, I'm not going to bother showing up there, then it kind of removes that whole aspect of gameplay that people would previously experience. Not to mention, you can kind of reset them with marks and do quests with them. So we don't want to really incentivize people to not bother to check it out when they can group up with.
Yeah. There's an incoming. I can't give you an ETA, but there's an incoming quest that basically will let you collect certain resources and bring them to the waystone to cool it down, or you can just spend marks to cool it down. So hopefully in the future this won't be as much of an issue where you go, man, the waystone has been used. I'm gonna have to just come back later. So you won't actually have to necessarily do that in the future.
Okay, thank you. And the second question: do you ever plan on resizing some dinos, like Matry, bringing it to its IRL size?
So the Metri. So regarding scaling dinosaurs, the dinosaurs in the game as is. I mean, until the game is completely released, it's everything can be subject to change. So they could be resized. That being said, all of the dinosaurs can easily be resized through modding as well. So if people aren't happy with their current sizes, they can always just put in kind of like a balance, mod or size mod or something like that that could scale things to whatever people are looking for. That being said, I'm pretty sure Metriacanthosaurus is not. Metri is one of those weird animals where it could be the remains could be interpreted as a couple different ways. More like Allosaurus-like, which I think is seen in Jurassic World Evolution, that game. That one's like a lot larger and looks a lot more like an Allosaurus or something. And there's a different one that looks, I think it's a little more like Sinraptor or one of these other types of smaller, kind of megalosaur looking guys. And the one in game, based on what the perk owner, the person who donated for that dinosaur, that one is based on the smaller dinosaur, the smaller kind of interpretation. So that's why Metri seems like it's really small, but it's just because it's a different interpretation because the remains are a little bit fragmentary, I suppose. So I hope that answers your question.
Okay, thank you. That answered my question. Yeah, thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you for the question. Hello, Maple.
Hello. So my question is a little all over the place. So in the current state of the game, there's woods and some plains areas, but overall, I guess you could say it's pretty similar as far as biome type. And I'm a little worried that there are, a large amount of mid-tier dinosaurs in the game, and it'd be great to have some sort of incentive for those mid-tiers to have their own sort of biome areas. So, for instance, a faster, more stamina heavy dinosaur could be living in plains and would benefit from the plains in some way, whether that be a quest or some sort of diet type. And then maybe a tankier, slower carnivore could maybe inhabit, denser oh god, denser forests where they could, stalk prey easily. And I was wondering if there's plans to change up the map to allow for more diversity in a play style, I guess.
So generally, when we're doing like play styles of some of these mid tier or like middle-sized dinosaurs, I should say, we're more interested in figuring out how to allow people to explore the entire map or kind of like take parts of all parts of the map. We're not really looking to restrict certain players to certain areas of the map. That's kind of goes against the philosophy. We kind of want people to be spread out everywhere. That being said, certainly things like putting like exclusive Deinonychus food up really high where no other dinosaurs can reach it, for example, is a good one. And then, of course, certain things like Metri is able to eat mushrooms and things like that. That kind of gives them more of an incentive to go around and try and search for those mushrooms, and they grow in certain places and stuff like that. But in terms of like splitting up players to different biomes, that's certainly something that could definitely be like changed or modded in or something like that. But in terms of the base game, we're like I said, we're not looking to kind of say certain people have to play it here and certain people have to play here. Like we're not going to only restrict the Spinosaurus to play in, I guess, just swamp areas when they could go out into the big lake, Great Lake in the middle, for example, right? So
Okay. That
that's
makes
kind
sense
of
to
the
me.
philosophy behind it.
All right. Oh, that's all I got. Thanks for having me.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
for
the
your
question.
question. Hello, Toxic.
Hello. Hello. So my question is about AI. I was wondering how complex do you plan on making it? Is it gonna be more basics like fight if I'm not run away, I need to eat drink, or is it gonna have complex behaviors?
You
Like
want to
trying to
answer
stay
this one, Matt?
So I think
Wait,
it's going to depend on like what level of server performance we end up getting from the AI. So like it's going to be difficult, but we do plan on at least making it so you can't easily tell. You know, if you've got it like glitched out or not behaving properly, it's kind of ruin the immersion. So I'd go with like complex enough where it could be mistaken for a player, um, but not too performance intensive where we kind of have to drop the player count down because it's difficult to run.
that being said, the little critter AIs, because it's kind of two categories of AIs, there's the critters, which are kind of the passive ones that will just basically just run away from you. They'll just try and get away because they're basically can be eaten by all the players. So certainly critter AIs will be simple, so to speak, because they'll just worry about trying to escape. But the full dinosaur AI, yeah, those ones will be a little more complex.
Alright, and may I ask a second question?
Yep.
So remember hearing about you planning to make Concavenator more being capable of speccing into a more aquatic-based lifestyle. So I was wondering, when you say semi-aquatic, are you referring just it's gonna swim fast, or is it gonna be able, like Suko, to sorry, I forgot the word, to go underwater and hunt
Yeah,
fish?
to dive. Yep, that would be it. So to be able to dive underwater and you swim faster as well, and that kind of thing, and have more oxygen and stuff like that. But that would just be like an alternative gameplay style. You don't have to spec into it, so to speak, but at the cost of other abilities, you'd be able to spec into the kind of aquatic ability, so to speak. That would put more of an emphasis on swimming and stuff like that.
Alright, thank you. That's all. Have a nice day.
Perfect.
Thank you for the question. Hello, Voltage.
Hello. Do I sound okay? Can you hear me?
Yep, you
Yeah.
sound good. What's your
Okay.
question?
We can hear you.
I actually have a few lined up, just like three. First one, your matchmaking system is very new. Are you going to make it so that people could party up together before queuing to make it a little bit easier?
Yeah, we do actually. Yeah, so
Okay.
that's all planned.
I figured it was just a curiosity. So when you guys talked about having a home cave system, is that still in the works? Is that still planned? And how do you guys think that'll affect the gameplay?
You want to answer this one, Matt?
I'll let you get this one.
All right. So home case absolutely still planned. Work in progress. We're working on, of course, other things right now, but home caves will definitely be kind of integral to the full game. I can't necessarily tell you exactly what the home caves entail, but certainly, like we've mentioned in the past, you'll be able to expand them using marks, and you can kind of uh, redecorate, so to speak, and like kind of change them up and stuff like that, and invite players to come in and check them out. Certainly, there's a lot of gameplay, I guess, effects to having some kind of player housing like that, but it's kind of all being incorporated into the actual gameplay loop, and we think players will actually really quite enjoy it. But like I said, I can't reveal too much information about it until it's out because it's all subject to change at this point.
Yeah.
But we're very interested in making it like it's kind of semi-optional for most players if they really aren't really interested in. But if you are interested in it, then there's a lot of kind of depth to go into them in that regard.
So it's not going to really have like a huge effect on the base interaction with players.
Yeah, well, it'll have an effect. It kind of, we're trying to appeal to different types of players. And for
Mhm.
example, if you're a purely PvP player and you're just interested in hunting or defending, etc., other players, then probably the home caves might not necessarily be that interesting for you, and that would be okay. But certainly a lot of players might be interested in kind of the player housing aspect of it and being able to unlock stuff and kind of the completionist too. So that will definitely appeal more to that type of player.
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense.
One more quick thing that I'm kind of just curious about.
Mhm.
Your collision system is impressive with the way it spreads and it's not just a circle around the dino's hips. But I'm curious because for example, when two players run into each other, if they're the same size, a Metro running into Serrano or something like that, they kind of just get stuck on each other.
Yeah, yeah.
And also when a dino's running through the trees or hits a rock or anything, they kind of just get stuck on it or they kind of just ricochet off of it. I'm curious, do you guys think you'll add any sort of not necessarily like knockback or stun, but more of a stagger type of system that involves weight and velocity?
So definitely, the collision system as it is right now is work in progress. There's definitely a bunch of bugs and things like that that are going on that, um, dinosaurs can get stuck and this. That being said, there's definitely plans for something like, I guess, I'm thinking it's more like called a pushback system, where
Mm-hmm.
basically, if you try, if a Spinosaurus is trying to run forward and a small Deinonychus gets stuck behind it or in front of it, it's not necessarily going to come to a complete halt because there was another dinosaur in front of it. It'll have, I mean,
Yeah.
ignore trample damage, but it'll just be something like you kind of push the other player back, but it would depend
Well,
on the
yeah,
weight of each dinosaur. So the smaller
because
dinosaurs would get pushed around than the large
the
dinosaurs.
comparison I had thought of, the two comparisons, or I guess three. So like a Metriacanthosaurus sprints into a Cerrato. The Metri's moving faster, the Cerrato's not moving at all. They both kind of get pushed in the same direction, and a little bit, what I would think is a little bit of a stagger that keeps allowing player input just slightly limited so that it doesn't completely stop them from controlling their dino, but it just adds a little bit of a risk. The other one I was thinking was a Spinosaurus running into a Lambeosaurus. The Spinosaurus obviously weighs more, so the Spinosaurus won't be completely stopped, whereas the Lambeo would be pushed out of the way.
Yep.
But on the same token, a Suchomimus is visually larger than a Styracosaurus. However, because of the way the Styracosaurus is built, it's low to the ground and boxy. If a Styracosaurus were to run into a Suchomimus, the Suchomimus would be pushed a lot more than you would think. And
It
just
would
kind of those
probably
more.
it would tie more so into just their weight in general, I'm thinking. But I can't necessarily answer the exact specifics on about how that might work, just because we're still working on it. But definitely the entire question as a whole, just thinking, collision is definitely work in progress, and we're very aware of the issues of things like, Spino being stopped completely if it slightly touches, let's say, a Metri that's just standing of it, and it doesn't feel that great. You don't feel like you've got that much weight and power behind you. So very, very, very known in this regard, and we'll be working on it.
Okay.
It's
Because that was
also
just one of the major.
real quick, sorry. It's also a
I'm sorry?
really complicated problem because of the multiplayer considerations. So it's not
Yes.
just, hey, we think the Suka is big and it should better push this Metro around. It's also like, how do we handle multiplayer and lag and ping and network prediction? Games like I think it's Halo 3. If two people meleeed each other at the exact same time, the server wouldn't be able to figure out people's exact health levels, right? And they like spent months trying to figure out like what will happen when this thing runs into this thing. And I think they
Yeah.
eventually ran into they needed to just make both people die because otherwise it'd feel unfair because
Yeah.
you've got low health, I've got low health, it's like they had this check that's like who has the most health should win, right? And because it was so hard to
Yeah.
figure out because of the ping, they had to like decide on a compromise. So we'll probably have to do something that's awesome, but we also have to consider, something that's going to work with multiplayer as well. So it might be a little bit less
Yeah.
awesome than we want it to be, but it'd also be rewarding and not feel like you're getting duped when, this guy lags over here and you run into him and you get blocked, or this, that, and the other happens and you feel like your combat
Yeah.
experience is ruined.
All because of a slightly faulty connection or just not the best of internet.
Yeah, you think about like you're running in the straight line and this guy lags like a couple of millimeters forward, and then instead of hitting you on his screen, you just fly straight past him, right? And like simulation goes out of
Yeah.
sync, and it's you have to deal with like because there's an ideal world where it's like, okay, this dinosaur's big, it should be able to do exactly this. And there's also things like how much server performance is a collision going to take up? So like, would you like really awesome collision, but not be able to run as many players or as many AI? You know what I mean? Or would you like slightly less awesome collision, but more AI and more
Yeah.
players? And it's very tough calls we have to make like that.
Yeah. Because obviously you can't give it like extremely complex interaction.
Yeah, we have games like World of Warcraft that they don't have collision for good reason, right? Because like, man, that stuff's rough, right? And you've got the combat implications as well of collision. You've also got all the bugs as well, because there's no awesome collision system. There's the least worst collision system, and sadly, that's the thing we had to implement, because this stuff, I mean, most of the games just don't do any. They don't try to attempt to do any of this stuff, just because it's so hard. I think you spend a number of months just on collision, and it's probably still got a lot of work left to go.
Yeah.
Was it like
Right,
15,000 lines of code to get the collision
Yeah,
going?
yeah, like character movement behind lines like 10,000 lines of code, and we had to bring it up to like 15,000 lines of code just to do collision, and it's like, and that code's not documented by Unreal Engine as well, very well, so like have to reverse engineer the engine to figure out how it works, and we have limited people on our team who can work on collision, and it's like, do we have the guy work on collision or combat? You know what I mean? And for us, it's like, I think combat's a little bit more important right now, but you also have to keep in mind collision is combat as well. So, they're really important things.
But yeah, thank you for your question. Brilliant.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Hi, I have a question about abilities. How many abilities can we equip at the same time? Like 3 or 5 or even 10? And will we have passive abilities?
So yes, so to both of those, right now it only works as 2. That being said, we'll have I think up to 7, and a lot of the abilities can also be passive. For example, you might be able to get an ability that's just a passive speed boost, let's say. Does that make sense?
But you mean
So there will
7 abilities at the same time?
Yes, up to 7 abilities. However, it's probably going to be rare that you have 7 abilities all completely active at the same time. Like some of those might be passive abilities, let's say. There'll be more information about how exactly the abilities will work once we have get an update out to kind of expand on the entire system, because it's going to have kind of like a slot system where you can equip different things to different slots, and depending on the slot, it might usually just have more of a passive effect into it, sort of like a passive ability as opposed to an active ability, whereas the active ability is something you can use like an actual attack or charge or something like that.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
and can you give us more info about Bone Break? Because I feel like Sarka's death roll, for example, should deal Bone Break.
I don't know which attacks are going to necessarily apply Bone Break, because it's a little too early. It'll be kind of based around how the dinosaur's playstyle is meant to be. For example, when we do implement the Anadontosaurus, which is the sort of ankylosaurus-looking dinosaur, he will definitely have Bone Break. And that's kind of part of his playstyle. It will be kind of crowd control. Crowd control kind of meaning he can slow other players down so that they're less of a threat to everyone else in its party or group, or even just itself. But in terms of exactly how Bone Break is going to work, I can't quite answer that one until we actually have it implemented, because it could change, unfortunately. And we'll definitely let everyone know once it's ready to go, and once a dinosaur that has Bone Break has been implemented, so people will be able to check it out. But it's a little too early, I think. It's a really complicated one. It kind of ties into the whole movement system, which, like Matt just mentioned in the previous answer, is it can be really complicated, unfortunately. It's not as simple as just applying more damage over time.
Okay, and will we get abilities one by one, or just patch comes out and we have 10 abilities at the same time?
Yeah, so it's going to be tied more into growth. So when you're first born, or a catch, I suppose, you'll have only a couple abilities. And as you grow, you'll be able to like access more and more. And you also need to unlock the ability using marks. So it kind of depends on if you're a really skilled player and can complete a lot of quests, you'll be able to have more access to abilities than someone who might just be kind of running around like randomly killing people or just kind of doing whatever and not actually progressing towards any kind of earning of marks, if that makes sense. So it'll reward players who are kind of actively looking to earn marks and I guess further progress their character. So yep.
Yeah, I mean, for example, right now, Metri has only 2 abilities. And
Yep.
in next patch, it will have 3, next patch 4, or we will have a huge patch and it have 10 abilities.
It will be more so there'll be one patch that will have kind of like a combat kind of update patch or something like that. And that patch might not have all of Metri's abilities completely in, but it will have definitely a larger amount. And then we'll add over time as new mechanics and things like that are ready to go for that dinosaur. So it'll be more of a one big patch that all dinosaurs will get a whole bunch of additional abilities.
And last question, will we be able to carry bodies, not just meat chunks?
Carry what?
Carry bodies.
Bodies. Oh, I guess we'll have to come back to that one. I don't know if we'll necessarily be doing that one because the meat chunks kind of does the same thing, as it is right now. But we'll have to see if that's something that we can implement. It can sometimes be a little bit difficult with the like ragdoll bodies and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
because I can play with friend, and he can die from hunger. I have body on me, but he can die from hunger because all I can carry to him is just a meat chunk. So he can eat it, but anyway die before we get another body.
generally the dinosaur bodies and their food amount and stuff like that is kind of balanced in such a way so that once you kill a dinosaur, you're pretty much going to want to eat the whole thing, or at least as much as possible because of the rate at which the food sort of your hunger goes down versus the amount of food that the body can provide is generally balanced so that most people will probably eat the whole body very quickly. But it's something that we'll look into in terms of the body dragging stuff. It's something we'll look into. So I'll have to get back to you on that one and let you know and let everyone know, I suppose, if that's something that we'll be implementing in the future.
Thank you. And about fast question about what's in Great Lake, lake where Cobb's Cove is, because looks like we have 20 people sitting there and they always have water. Is it just a bug or what is
I
it?
can
Yeah.
take this
So
one.
that's okay. Sure.
Yeah, so there's just a bug with the matchmaker right now where it's the water quality level's not saving between restarts, and it effectively makes the water quality update not really effective at all because the server will reset before it gets to 0. So it won't actually force anyone to move around the map. So we have to wait until there's a patch coming out for that soon. I've already done a fix for it, but yeah, just like next patch, that'll be fixed.
Thank you very much. That's all.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you for your questions.
Bye bye.
See ya. Right, from here on out, we're going to lower it to one question per person, because otherwise we'll be here all night, and some of us would like dinner. Okay, cool. Hello, Liam. Will you be talking or typing? We can't hear you, so if you want to type in the chat instead.
Other than that, while he's fixing his mic or typing it out, we'll get another person asking questions.
Get someone else. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay, he's in the meantime while he types that up. Hello, Cos.
Hi. My question is about the community servers.
Sure.
I saw a lot of updates in the test branch. My question is how far it is with the community servers. We have to wait much longer, or it comes sooner than we all thought. Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming out really soon. That's all.
Oh, yeah, good. That was the question.
Yep.
Thank you.
Really soon.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Right. Liam. Right. Hello, Aurora. Oh, okay. Out of curiosity, will there be a small chance for edible bones, similar to the interactive piles you can find around the world, to spawn in place of a player or AI carcass after it has been eaten or decomposed?
Yeah, actually, I can answer this one. So, it's not implemented yet, but there's plans for like killing certain types of dinosaurs can reward quest items. For example, if there's a quest that's telling you that it needs to collect feathers for a certain reason, then you might have to go and find and kill some kind of a feathered dinosaur and then take the feathers off their body, kind of thing. So it's kind of like more interactive. So in this case, that might be a chance. Only certain dinosaurs can eat bone types. Um, but you might end up with something like killing a Suchomimus, let's say, when you pull something off the body, it could sometimes give you a bone, which some dinosaurs might not be able to eat, or it could sometimes give you the meat, which most dinosaurs, at least carnivores, can eat. So it's kind of like a bit more variety to what actually comes off the body. And then, of course, all of these items could be used towards the quests if the quest asks for it, if that makes sense.
Is that all good? Brilliant. Thank you for your question. Leo is still typing. That's fine.
We got about like 9 minutes left.
Yes, I'm going as far. Stop it.
You don't have to rush. It's okay.
Hello, Cryptic. You're muted. So are you typing or talking?
A question in the Q&A chat room.
Oh, yes. Okay. Right. Liam asks, is growth going to be quest or time-based? Either way, in which will growth be optional for servers or will it be a mod? Just wanted to ask due to the thought of a Spinosaurus and Deinonychus taking the same amount of effort to grow, being a little strange.
All right. Well, in this regard, growth on official servers will be based on quest progress, not on time. That being said, that's definitely something that we could set up as a server option for community servers if they're interested in having kind of more realism-based growth. Now, in terms of growth times, it's all subject to change, but we're looking to create a complete gameplay experience for different types of players. The person who plays a Spino, as you mentioned, is going to have a completely different gameplay style than a Deinonychus, and we're not going to specifically hamper the Deinonychus's fun and progression and stuff like that just because they're small, if that makes sense. Like the Deinonychus player should feel like they have as much of a game and the content and kind of the difficulty and all that stuff as the Spinosaurus player. That being said, certainly there might be differences in growth times depending, on the gameplay style. If there's a dinosaur that's kind of just meant to be quick and nimble and doesn't necessarily do much damage, but is a super great scout and stuff like that, then that might reflect the amount of time it takes to get that dinosaur to adulthood, if that makes sense. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you for your question. Hello, Cryptic.
Maybe the whack working was a little bit optimistic.
Alas. Well, you do some typing. I'll get somebody else in. All right, I suppose we'll bring in laughter.
Why do you have to sound so unenthusiastic about that?
You know why.
Oh yeah. So my question is more on if we're expecting community servers soon-ish. What was your thoughts on the pricing for those, and will it be slot based? Like, say I want 50 slots, it would be more expensive or less expensive?
I'll get this one. So we're not going to be selling community service directly to people. We're just running an initial test right now with some free servers we've provided people who've signed up to the community server application. But in the future, the server files will get released and anyone will be able to host a community server. So that'll be up to like what provider you decide to rent or buy your.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that's great. That's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Cool.
No worries.
Thank you for the question. Cryptic, have you written your one anywhere? No luck yet. Okay. I'll get someone else in. Hello, Alex.
Alex is muted. Why should I mute Alex? Or are you typing?
Got a lot of typers. Okay.
Okay. Sure. If you're still typing something out, we can ask another one while you're typing it out.
I'll bring someone else in the meantime.
Yeah.
How about Foxy? Or Pog, whoever gets in first. All right. Hello, Pog.
He's muted too.
Awesome, both typing.
Okay, so oh, perfect. They're at the same time. Alex asks, "Will you be able to break your bones in the future from a fall or from an anadonto?"
Yes, those are both planned. Um, the fall damage, breaking your bone from fall damage, is going to be based a little bit on the impact velocity. So if you just fall 5 meters, let's say, you might not necessarily break your leg or your bones, I should say, but it'll just depend on the kind of the speed at which you hit the ground. And after a certain velocity, I should say, it'll break the leg.
Okay, cool. And then there is Pog asking, "Was wondering if you could provide some insight to any plans for the Pycnonemosaurus and its playstyle."
Oh, everyone loves Picno. I think it's a little too early for me to necessarily comment on that one. Certainly it's kind of a larger tier dinosaur, so you can take that one into account. But I think it's just too early for me to be able to necessarily comment. I mean, it's so far out, after release and stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Right. Hello, Foxy. Any questions?
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We're here.
Okay, thank you. I'm not too up to date, but and I hope this hasn't already been answered. But with the plants and sorts, is there any plans for some of them to have medicinal effects?
Well, certainly the mushrooms, as of right now, give you a healing buff if you eat them. So that's one that's already in the game. But definitely, depending on different types of plants that you eat, they'll give you like different kind of buffs in some way. Some of them might be longer term than others.
All right. Okay.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Okay. Cryptic asks, "What game ideas didn't make the cut? Like if there were any dinosaurs that we considered but are not going to be in anymore."
Generally, we don't necessarily have to make the cut, so to speak. It might just be we have a plan for a mechanic and it has to just be implemented slightly differently than the original plan because of, performance or there's some other issues with it, for example. But generally, the game as it is right now coming along hasn't really cut any necessarily like planned features. That being said, one dinosaur that's kind of interesting is the Allosaurus, which was the first dinosaur modeled for Path of Titans, originally was going to be a Torvosaurus, but I decided to change it at the last minute and, update the head and stuff like that to reflect, it was just more of a fan favorite dinosaur, but Torosaurus would be, or Torvosaurus, I should say, would be a pretty awesome dinosaur anyways. And I do think there are people who are actually modding that creature into the game as we speak. But that's technically a cut dinosaur if you think about it. It's because it was changed into something else. But yeah, that's about it.
Brilliant. Thank you for your question. Let's get Carrison. Hello.
Hey, hello. Just another quick question. Expanding on the AI, if possible. Um, is the AI population of like the actual dinosaurs going to be dependent on how many players are on the server? So lots of players, less AI, less players, lots of AI?
Yes, exactly. So we plan on basically the AI will fill out the ecosystem that players do.
So that the maps aren't like
Yeah,
dead.
so it's like evenly balanced, like distributed around the map. If everyone's playing a certain kind of dinosaur, we're going to fill out the AI to fill whatever people aren't playing.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And also regarding the AI stuff, one method that we're thinking about to help with performance and stuff like that is not to just have random things running around the map, at least specifically to critters, but there might be ways in which you can kind of dig a burrow and then an AI pops out, and then you can go and chase the AI kind of thing, versus it just being random AIs wandering around in the world, in which we might have to have less AIs in that regard. So just kind of like AI on demand kind of thing. Definitely is something we're looking into as well as ways to get around some of the performance problems that they can cause.
By the way, any of you coming in to speak, if you have questions you're typing, please have them pre-typed and ready, just so we can avoid the, taking too long. Hello, Crow.
Looks like they're muted.
Right.
Let's
Crow
get someone
asks.
else.
Might be typing. Yeah.
Crow asks about more creatures and possibly expanding the roster. Are we perhaps getting more drone? dromaeosaurids or any particular animals that have a niche like a smaller fisher in comparison to our bigger ones, like Ostroraptor or Baryonyx, or perhaps a smallish pursuit predator? Yeah.
So
I'm
regarding more raptors, so to speak, there is the Achilobator, if I'm pronouncing that right, which is kind of like a larger raptor, larger than Latin and stuff like that. So that one's planned in the future. That was donated by a perk owners. That being said, one thing to mention is regarding, like, let's say a smaller fisher, so to speak. Do consider that there will be like baby Spinosauruses or baby Suchomimuses that also kind of fill that niche of like a smaller fisher and the things that will want to eat the small fish. So it's all kind of like tied together. And if you're in an area, you might see like a subadult Spinosaurus that's actually kind of similar in, I guess, utility as something like a mid-tier uh, fishing dinosaur, let's say. So just consider that one as well. But in terms of a dedicated dinosaur, that's certainly something we can add in the future. You guys know all of our planned dinosaurs in terms of the stretch goals and perk funded dinosaurs. So, but after that, after all of those are implemented, and we've fulfilled all of those, then definitely we can take a look into adding creatures that we think might flesh out the ecosystem even more, or give at least different types of play styles.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Hey guys,
Hello,
thanks
Adam.
for doing this. This is really cool. Real quick, so do you plan on increasing the viewing distance and hearing distance for other players? Is that something you've thought about, or
Yes,
like,
so
yeah,
very
what are your
simple
thoughts
answer
on
to
that?
that is yes. We
Yes.
can go into
Okay.
more
Awesome.
detail, but there's things like just it's a little bit low right now for certain performance reasons and optimization reasons, but we do plan out expanding that out by a lot, so that shouldn't be a problem going forward.
Sure. Okay. Cool. I figured it was performance related. So awesome. That was my only question. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And we're definitely aware of kind of like how sound doesn't seem to travel too far, and that kind of makes it seem like the world is more empty than it actually is. So that's something we'll be working on at some point too.
Hello,
Like
Ford.
sound traveling further.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Ford. We're good. What's your question?
I have a question about Unreal Engine 5 and how it will be utilized.
All right. Are you asking us that question? How will it be utilized?
Yeah, if it will be utilized at all.
Do you want to answer this one, Matt?
I think it's too early to say right now, mainly because
It's not even officially released yet. It's
not
still in
even
just like a
released yet. It's
alpha.
a bit early. It changes
Yeah.
the game system requirements a bit. So yeah, we're just a little bit concerned that it might be like, dropping some platforms, old computers, and different things like that. Not to mention, every time we've upgraded the game's engine, like some things are broken or and we have to go work on that instead of working on the game. So, we could be like, oh great, we're on Unreal Engine 5 now, but now the combat's a bit buggy, or now this thing doesn't work, and ultimately the net experience might be negative, like more negative on Unreal Engine 5. So we have to wait and see when that gets fixed up.
Basically for a full release.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we upgrade like Unreal Engine 4 between like 4.25 to 4.26, and then we like get set back by 2 months because we're like fixing all the problems with it. So I couldn't imagine going from like a major engine version would have changed a lot more.
That's all I
Okay,
want to ask.
brilliant. Yeah, thank you very much for your question. Hello, Infa. Right. Okay, that's all right. Infa asks, well, Infa says they were told that sniffing won't be implemented, so what do we have to replace that? Like, a player's going to have to find items at random, or will they be a type of indicator for food somewhere?
So regarding this one, I think we've answered this numerous times, but there's the best indicator to exist, which is the food itself, right? The problem is like if you make stuff glow and you make stuff like, put everything on the mini map and make stuff stand out, it can make the game a little bit easier and remove all the skill level required. As in, like, you can't learn the map and get any better at finding food. It's glowing. You know what I mean? So we felt like it was a little bit too easy just for the base game official servers, but that doesn't mean you can't totally mod your own scent in. The main scent replacement was the minimap, and like the way quests work with like arrows pointing to where you need to go and stuff like that. But the in terms of like tracking people, we want you to be able to use like footprints. We want you to be able to use the environment and sounds and different aspects of the game that aren't just, hey, make this thing glow that kind of anyone can see from anywhere.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much for your question. Let's get Elpana. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
What is your
Hiya.
question?
My question is, there will be more species from other countries and continents such as Chilosaurs or the Argentinosaur from South America.
Definitely you know our current planned dinosaurs, and we have some from South America coming. And I think concavenators from Brazil, South America. So there's some dinosaurs coming. That being said, once we've released all of the planned dinosaurs, we can definitely take a look at adding them from, like, fan favorites and things from different countries, and making sure we've got more of like an inclusive roster, if that makes any sense. Yeah, from around the world. But it's too early for us to be able to tell you exactly what dinosaurs are going to be added.
Oh, cool. This is great.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to see what dinosaurs people are interested in. Maybe we can take community feedback. Who knows?
Yeah, thank you very much for your question.
And if they do have any suggestions, definitely, if you can still hear, you can always make suggestions in the dinosaur suggestion channel. Hi there, Shotgun. Pink.
Hello. Oh, ow. Come on.
We can
Can
hear
you
you.
hear me? Okay. My question is, based on modding, what do you guys have future plans for things like modding, and how far in depth are you guys wanting to go with it?
About this one, it's about to come out soon, so I think your best bet might be to go play it and check it out. But you can literally mod anything in the game. I mean, we've added modding support from the very beginning, so when we were making the quest system, we intentionally designed it to be as easily moddable as possible. Often games that add modding later on, people go to mod the game and it's actually really hard. You go to swap out the thing you want to replace and it's, falls apart, right? But with Path of Titans, we say group limits or scent or whatever you want to mod in, new dinosaurs, dogs, alien creatures, new maps, game modes, like anything you can put your mind to, you can do. We also take suggestions from modders and update the game to be more moddable. So if there's something you can't mod right now, just let us know and we'll edit the game to make that possible.
For example, some of our modders mentioned they are interested in different types of weather, like more weather types. And so it's kind of like that's a really great suggestion where we might be able to expand our kind of sky system to be able to let people mod in, let's say, sandstorms or snowstorms or something like that. Because the current sort of base system doesn't really take that one into account. So we'll definitely work with people to expand on a lot of these things. But in terms of a ballpark range, yeah, it's definitely things like new creatures, new game modes, new maps, additions to things like you could edit the Pandora map to add different quests on really easily, new abilities, modifying stats. You can even do things like changing UI in some instances, change the way the UI works. So yeah.
Oh, one thing
All
I
right,
want to
thank
mention
you.
that you won't be able to mod in copyrighted stuff from other people due to legal reasons. So there's some
Yeah.
restrictions there. But everything else is pretty much possible.
Ooh, I have possibilities now.
Yeah, and if anyone in this chat here has any experience with Unreal Engine, and kind of has done modding before, definitely feel free to send me a message and we can look into possibly getting anyone who has experience set up with our dev kit so you're able to create stuff if that's something that interests you. But I do ask that you do have experience ahead of time because it is work in progress and it's not kind of like fully documented, so to speak. So we want people who've already got experience.
Yeah, thank you very much for your question.
Not a problem. I wish you guys luck.
Yeah, thank you. Right, let's get Paleozilla. Hello.
Hi there. We can hear you.
I'll be typing, so yeah.
Okay.
That's no problem. We'll get someone else in while you type it up.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Hello. I want to know the way about the weather. The weather.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be like tornadoes in the game.
So there's currently no plans for tornadoes. That's definitely something that could be modded in, but we don't really envision the game having these giant tornadoes that might cause issues for players. So no plans for that one.
Okay.
Alright.
My suggest the other one. It is the lore about Path of Titans, the Wavestones.
Oh, is there any lore? That's kind of for us to know if there's lore and stuff like that. Definitely, a lot of it can be open to interpretation and things like that. But kind of the core of the game is about letting people create their own, I guess, dinosaur experiences, if that makes sense. So I'm going to guarantee that every unique server that you join is going to have completely different lore and backstories, and all the maps that they host might be kind of linked together. And that's kind of we're more interested in letting players create their own story than we are in kind of making the base game necessarily have a story, if that makes sense.
Okay, that's it for
Brilliant.
you know.
Thank you very much for your questions.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wrap it up here pretty shortly.
Alright, Paleozilla asks, how long does it take to finish animations for the dinosaurs in the game?
So that one depends entirely on, I guess, like the complexity of the dinosaur. It also depends on if I've got other work going on, but probably it takes something between a week, maybe 2 weeks, depending on how many animations are needed for it. Because there's all of the combat ability animations and stuff like that too, but probably a week or two.
All right. Thank you.
No worries.
Brilliant, thank you. Okay, we're
And
gonna
there's a
take.
bunch of streams. There's a bunch of streams on our YouTube channel where you can like actively watch me in the process of animating stuff, so you can get an idea of how long it might take. I think it's just in some of the dev streams that we have. They're a little way back now, but you'll be able to find them.
Right, we're gonna take 3 more questions, okay? So let's have a look.
Hi there,
Right,
cockroach.
cockroach. It'll be cockroach, Farin, then Chaz, I believe I invited. Right.
Looks like
Got a
cockroach's
question.
mic is working.
Okay, we'll do Farron. Oh no, typing. There we go. Cockroach asks if mods will allow you to basically mod in anything, such as stat changes, new creatures, new maps. It's only one
Yes.
question per.
Yes to all of the above. So new creatures, new maps, and stats. Those are all definitely moddable. We'll have a whole list of everything that can be modded once modding is publicly released and people kind of have a better idea. But yes, it's very, very open.
Thank you, Cockroach. Farron, hello.
How's it going? As a ceratopsian main, I was wondering if y'all have any plans for reduced head damage or an impaling feature.
I think reduced head damage is actually already in the game. I think they take significantly less if specifically their head gets hit. However, they'll take a lot if their neck gets hit.
Okay, I just been a while since I got to play, so that may be why.
No worries, no worries. And in terms of impaling, you mentioned that's definitely something we're really interested in, but I will have to just let you know a little bit later if that's something that we can implement and that works out.
All right, thank y'all.
Awesome.
Thank you very much. Hello, Chaz. Last one up. What's the question?
Hey, it was about the abilities and growth. So I know as we grow, as you guys mentioned, or we unlock abilities and stuff. I was just curious if certain abilities will be locked after we reach a certain percentage of growth, like an Eotrike. Let's say you get the sub-adult stage as Eotrike. You have a charge ability, but you get the adult stage, you lose that charge ability because, well, you're a big boy now.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, where something like maybe a glide ability would kind of be taken away from you as you get heavier, let's say, right? Now, we're not necessarily planning on doing that one purely from a gameplay point of view because it really does suck. Like, as you progress your character forward, you get stuff taken away from you. Usually that's kind of counterintuitive. You would think you get stronger, you get more abilities and stuff like that. That being said, for realism purposes and stuff, like I said, maybe you had a baby Deinonychus that you wanted that could glide, and then once the Deinonychus gets to adult size, it can't glide anymore because it's too heavy. That's something that could definitely be modded in, and I think that functionality already exists. So you could definitely mod that one in. But specifically, like I said, from a base gameplay design point, we won't be doing that.
Okay, thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Right, I believe that's all of them. You two want to do the closing farewells?
Yeah. So, thanks everyone for all the questions. Hopefully we got to most of them. If you do have any more questions, we do have the Q&A channel where you can always ask things, and we'll see if we can answer as best as we can. And hopefully everyone had a good time. And I think we wanted to just apologize for the servers being kind of as they are right now. That's kind of why we're doing the Q&A, and we hope that everyone has a good evening.
Yeah, they're all fixed now, so best of luck.
Yep.
See ya.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Yeah. Have fun, guys. We'll talk with everyone later.